today's guest isn't just a coach, he's a commander. He is a person that carried not just playbooks and pressure, but the hopes of an entire Latino community on his shoulders. From being a player to being a coach, he is the icon, the leader, the voice of resilience, the representation of Latinos in the NFL. He is Ron Rivera. Coach, great to have you here with us.
It's good to be here, Charlie. Thank you very much for having me.
So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your pathway, your journey to the NBA. Was it always a dream? Little Ron, when he was 4 or 5 years old, was he playing football his entire life?
You know, Charlie, I started with baseball.
Wow.
Was my dad's sport. Dad's Puerto Rican, mom's Mexican, Filipino, and so we started with baseball. And so my idol, the guy I looked up to, was Roberto Clemente.
Yeah.
And it was there was a while that people thought I was going to go play baseball. I was actually a pretty good catcher and a pretty good hitter, but it quickly became evident that I was growing, and I was growing fast. I mean, I went to high school. I was 6'2", 205 pounds, and then my freshman year at Cal, at the University of California, Berkeley, I was 6'3", 220. So I had the size to play football, and I adapted to it very quickly.
Wow, that's amazing. And when was this decision of saying, I'm good at baseball, I'm good at football, so let's switch it all and go pro with the NFL?
You know, it really started my sophomore year in high school. I had a very good sophomore year in high school playing varsity football, and it became evident because I started getting the recruiting letters from the different schools. In all total, by the time I was making my decision on where I wanted to go to college, I had 28 scholarship offers. So, and we went with the University of California at Berkeley, more so because of the academics as well, as not just football. I mean, I wanted to be a well-rounded student. I wanted to get a worldly education, but I also wanted to get a very good education. And I just knew I couldn't go wrong with going to Berkeley.
Of course. And was there a decision-making process that was through your family, through your mom, through your dad, that helped you decide Cal Berkeley and your next step?
Well, I grew up in a military family, and so whenever we did something, we always looked at the different considerations for different reasons. Probably the biggest reason that came up for me personally was about being close to home. Our home base was Fort Ord, California, which was about 95 miles away from campus, and I knew it was an easy trip for my family to come watch me play. And I really appreciated the fact that they were there. And so that was, that was the decision I made, just knowing what it was like growing up in a military family, where, family was so important, and quite honestly, it's a cultural thing. I mean, as far as Latinos are concerned, family is very strong, in our culture. It's very strong. I think as a mechanism to keeping everybody together. And that's, I think, is probably one of the really major reasons why I did what I did.
And I want to talk about a moment that might be the dream of thousands or millions of Latinos. The moment you made it to the NFL. How was it taking it from the college level, which is something miraculous, to something exceptional like the NFL?
Well, you know what's interesting, Charlie, is people don't realize that less than 1% of every guy that is draft eligible will make it to the NFL. I mean, the number is so small that there's a transition rate probably between 375 to 450 players a year. So if you're fortunate enough to be one of those guys that gets that opportunity to play in the NFL, man, you've got to grasp it. And that's what happened for me. I got my opportunity. I grasped it with both hands, and I took it as long as I could. And the one thing I understood during the whole time was that it could go away in a minute. And because of injury, because you're not good enough. So you had to work at it. And that's what I tried to do. I tried to make sure I worked at it. I tried to make sure I always put myself in position that I could continue to go on. And I was fortunate enough to have a 9-year career. So I was very, very fortunate, very blessed.
It was an amazing career. And I want to just tell everybody the story of that first moment you stepped on the grass as an NFL player. Did something change, or was your perspective into this is what I was looking for my entire life?
It's one of those things that, and I'll tell you this too, my perspective changed collegiately the first time I stepped onto a field. Then when I got into an NFL game, the first time I stepped on the field, it was even bigger. And you realize just how big the stage got. And in today's world, with all the forms of communications, with the internet, with streaming, with live television, I mean, it is truly a vast world and a big world, a big stage. And that's the thing that really I've realized in every step and every phase of my career, from having been a collegiate player, an NFL player, to becoming a coach, and now stepping back to the collegiate ranks as a general manager. The entire scope of the coverage that we get today is enormous, and it's an amazing thing because it has definitely become a world game.
I want to talk about the world game fact right now. So it's a factor that when you're a Latino representing in the biggest league in the world, there must be some type of pressure, right? There must be a lot of ways of communication, platforms that want to talk to you and have their eyes focused because you're Latino. Did you ever feel that pressure, or was it more of like a drive for you?
It was both. I felt the pressure. I understood the responsibility, but it's also what drove me. When I played collegiately, I was the only one on the team that was Latino, and I knew the responsibility. I knew the burden, but I also understood that fine line of not necessarily fitting in. I mean, when you're the only one, it's a different feeling. It really is, and there's a lot of pressure, and there is some where I have to show everybody. So every day I had to bring it. Every day I had to be the best one. Every day I had to practice like it was game time, and that's really what drove me. That's really what I did. I went out there to prove something because I was the only one. I had to be better. I had to stand out.
For all those dreaming of going through college and making it to the NFL, there must be some factors, some skills that they must have to make it to the top level. If you could give the kids, the next generation, some advice on how to make it, what skills should they focus on?
Well, I'll tell you right now is speed, quickness, and power. I mean, if you have those three skills, you can be very successful. But the truth is, Charlie, and I believe this, and I learned this very early in my NFL career. There's a little saying that we had in Chicago with the Bears: the strong defeat the weak, but the smart defeat the strong. And so it was really that. It's not just necessarily having all the tools, but if you don't know how to use them, if you don't know when to use them, and you don't know the experience that you need, you're gonna fail. So the biggest advice I could tell is listen, everybody for the most part is going to be equal with skill sets. There are very few special guys, very few. So what differentiates those guys, and those special guys will tell you too, is how smart they are, how much they understand the game. It's not just about running fast and jumping high and hitting hard. It's about taking your skill set and knowing how to use your skill set. And then the next thing that comes after those two things is being a great teammate. A saying that I learned early on too is, don't be the best player on the team, be the best player for the team. Guys that are great teammates, guys that do things the right way, they rub off on the people around them. And it's funny because I always talk about family and how important it is. And everybody goes, well, what's so important about saying, hey, this is family? Well, the one thing about family is, you have a responsibility to a group of people you love, okay? You have a purpose. That should be enough for you to be purpose-driven, okay? Accepting the responsibility, holding yourself accountable, because nothing is greater than family, in my opinion. And I think that's a really important, because I get it. I understand it's about winning. And sports is a meritocracy, because the more you win, the more success you have, the more fame and fortune you're going to get. I get that part of it. But let's be honest, if you don't have a purpose other than just winning, okay, you're just going to go out there and you're going to try and do everything for yourself. But if you have a purpose, and that is you have a responsibility to a group of people, man, your commitment to them, the way you approach things is going to be tremendous. And again, to me, that's a cultural thing. That's a family thing.
Whenever we talk about Ron and his NFL career as a player, they always mention the best guy, the best teammate, the best guy on and off the field, right? Did you carry this vision of family that you're mentioning right now to your NFL coach career? Is that
Yes.
how you implement things, and is that the way you roll with the team?
I believe that. I do. You know, when Stephanie and I, my wife and I, when we went to Carolina as the Panthers, my first head coaching job, one of the first things we said is we've got to be able to assimilate to this community. We've got to be able to make ourselves part of it to show that we're not just here to take, but we want to give back. And we want to create a community where people can come and be part of what we're trying to do. And we did it consciously. I mean, we went out and we picked 3 charities that we would work with specifically. We picked the Ronald McDonald House because of families and children that were going through things at the hospital. We chose the USO of North Carolina because my father was military. My wife's father was military. Her grandfather served in World War II. My uncle served in World War I. I mean, we had a history with the military. So we picked those 3 and said that this is why we're going to do the things that we do. And that we did consciously. And again, I think that we have to understand as professionals, as players and coaches, that if all you do is take, eventually people are going to understand that, you know what, this is not really the kind of guy or kind of athlete that we want around. We want one that want to give back to us once in a while too, because it's important. It's about the community.
It's about giving back. It's about helping the next generation. It's about helping. And I want to know if you could choose one moment, but just one moment, from either your college life, college player, as an NFL player, as an NFL coach, so that everybody reminds you of. So what moment would that be?
Wow.
It can even be in your personal life as well if you want.
No, you know, Charlie, there have been so many great moments. I've been very fortunate, very blessed. I mean, 36 years in the NFL. You know, I played major college football. Now I'm back on the scene in major college football. And wow. You know, I'll tell you what, a really special personal moment for us, for our family, was when I got my degree from the University of California. My father grew up in a Puerto Rican family, and he didn't get to finish college because he had to help the family out. He came off a farm. He joined the military and sent money home to the family. And Dad went back to night school till he graduated. And when I got the opportunity to go to college, that was one of the things I knew. And it's funny because I can honestly say one of my dad's most proudest moments was when I got my degree. And it's kind of interesting because mom believed in education too, but I know one of mom's proudest moments when I received my All-American letter. I think that was something that she really took a tremendous amount of pride in as well, because, you know, her family grew up with football. Her brothers played high school football. They played against Roman Gabriel. They played against Joe Cap when those guys were in high school as well. So that was something that was real special for my mom, because my mom saw every college game I played but one. And that was when we played Army. She just couldn't get to West Point because it was just too far away and very difficult to fly into. So, you know, and mom had to work, you know, during the week. And so she just couldn't make that one. But she saw of all the, what was it, about 44 college games I played, mom saw 43 of them.
Oh my God, 43 out of 44. That must be a superhero mom, just knowing everything that happens in mom's life, right? So understanding the value of family, understanding the value of being a Latino in the team, understanding everything you brought to the game and you continue to bring. Is there anything in your bucket list that you have not done for the NFL, 36 years?
You know, the one thing is to win the Super Bowl. I've been to 3 of them. I won one as a player. I would have loved to win one as a coach. I would have loved it. I mean, you know, we got close. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But we got there. I'm very proud of the things that we did, very, very proud of the accomplishments that we've had. And but to win it, that's everybody's goal. That's why you do what you do. You try to be the best at what you do, climb that mountain, get to the top, and just understand and recognize what you've accomplished. And it's interesting because, along the way, you learn what your value is, you learn what your impact is, but more importantly, you understand and you know what your purpose is. That's the thing that I believe we get culturally.
Getting your purpose, getting your reason of being in it. I have one final question for you, Ron, and it might be the toughest one.
Okay.
Out of your entire career, your entire life, dedicating yourself to the game, is there anything you would change? Anything you could go back? If you had a time machine, I'd be like, yeah, let's go 10 years behind, let's go 20 years. Or would you do everything exactly the same?
I think I would do everything exactly the same if I could, Charlie, just because of where I am today. I mean, there's so many little non-important things that I would say I would change, but the important things, the things that have happened in my life, I would keep, just because I look at where I am and think about how fortunate and blessed I am, to have the family I have, to have mom and dad, my brothers, to marry Stephanie, and have Christopher and Courtney as my children. I can't change it. There's nothing I would want to change, as far as that portion of it is concerned, is because that's how fortunate it is. I mean, it's been it's been a great run. I'm not done running yet. I hope to continue, and I hope to have some success collegiately, and then be able to settle in and then call it quits. But that's not for a while, because I'm having fun. I'm excited about it. But more importantly, Charlie, I'm trying to make an impact. I'm trying to help, and along with guys like Gary Acosta and Sandy Nunez, who's a Latina that works for the NFL Network, who's tremendous. I mean, there's some tremendous people out there that are succeeding and doing great things, and I'm just very blessed to have been able to associate with people like them.
Ron, we need way, way more. At least give us 20 more years and probably an NFL comeback. An NFL comeback. That's all we're asking for.
Nah, you know what? I mean, there's a lot of young guys out. I'm gonna tell you what, and somebody I've become friends with and learning a little bit more about, and I'm really pulling for, is Dave Canales. He's now the head coach at the Carolina Panthers, and he's a heck of a young man. He's done some really good things. I would love to see a guy like that have success, and if I could help him in any way, I told him I'm there for him, because I'd love to see him be successful and be the next Latino to be a success.
We're rooting for all Latinos in the NFL, and it's time. Coach, we want to appreciate you. Thank you for your time, and I'm pretty sure we will be seeing each other pretty soon.
Well, I look forward to it. I do. I know AVANCE is going to have their big event coming up pretty soon in San Diego, so I look forward to that.
It'll be awesome to meet you there and talk a little bit more so that everybody can get to know a little bit more of the Ron Rivera story. Thank you for your time.
All right, Charlie. Thank you, man.